Why India and Pakistan are on the brink of full-blown conflict.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today on
History of
10th
confrontation.
May,
India and Pakistan
time
are
of
indeed
Fajr,
on the brink of a dangerous conflict.
we have given
Restraint,
a strong
diplomatic
punch
efforts,
to
and
our
pressure from the
enemy.
international community will play a key role in
Alhamdulillah.
preventing a tragedy that could have dire consequences for the region and the world. UN tries to de-escalate tensions between India and Pakistan.
Nare!
Tensions between India and Pakistan have raised fears of a conflict between the two nuclear-armed South Asian nations after an attack on tourists in Kashmir that killed 26 people, most of them Indian citizens, AP reported on May 1st. India blamed Pakistan for the attack, but Pakistan has denied any involvement. Radio Free Europe, rfworld.org, also said that with a history of persistent military confrontation, a disputed region that has been disputed for decades, and accusations of cross-border support for terrorism, the risk of a full-blown conflict is more present than ever. The two countries have now downgraded diplomatic relations, threatened to suspend key treaties, and expel each other's citizens. This is the biggest breakdown in relations since 2019, when a suicide car bombing killed 40 Indian soldiers in Kashmir. India has hinted at the possibility of an imminent but limited military strike. Pakistan has said it will respond militarily. The Pahalgam attack sparked. The devastating attack near the town of Pahalgam in Kashmir became the direct trigger for the current tensions. New Delhi immediately accused Islamabad of involvement, although it did not provide specific evidence. India responded immediately, taking diplomatic and trade sanctions, including downgrading relations, closing key borders, and revoking visas for Pakistani citizens. Islamabad was not far behind, taking similar measures. A group calling itself the Resistance Front claimed responsibility for the attack. However, Indian officials said it was a front for Lashkar-e-Taiba, a Pakistan-based group. Pakistan has strongly denied any involvement and accused India of lacking concrete evidence. A manhunt is currently underway for 3 suspects, including 1 Indian and 2 Pakistanis. Kashmir, a persistent flashpoint. Kashmir, a Muslim-majority territory, has been at the heart of a dispute between India and Pakistan since the British partition of the Indian subcontinent in 1947. Both countries claim the entire territory and have fought 3 major wars over it, according to Radio Free Europe. For decades, armed rebels have been active there, supported by a section of Kashmiris who want the territory to be united under Pakistani rule or become an independent nation. India has consistently accused Pakistan of inciting and supporting violence in Kashmir, a charge Islamabad has consistently denied. Tens of thousands of civilians, rebels, and government forces have died in the long-running conflict. The last major attack before Pahalgam occurred in 2019, killing dozens of Indian security personnel and leading to an air battle that nearly escalated into all-out war between the two countries. Following the Pahalgam attack, Indian media and political leaders have not ruled out the possibility of a military strike on Pakistan. Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said, "We will not only go after those who carried out this attack, we will also go after those who were behind the scenes, plotting such acts on Indian soil." In addition, India has begun large-scale air and naval exercises, raising concerns of an imminent military move. Indian political analyst C. Raja Mohan told the Indian Express that Prime Minister Narendra Modi may have no choice but to take some big risks, given the severity of the attack and the widespread outrage in the country. Meanwhile, Himayat Ullah, a political scientist at Quaid-e-Azam University in Islamabad, believes that both New Delhi and Islamabad are aware of the risk of escalation and will try to avoid a full-blown war, but India may take some limited actions to calm public opinion. Indus Waters Treaty, a new flashpoint. Another worrying move is India's announcement to suspend the Indus Waters Treaty, a 6-decade-old agreement on sharing the waters of the vital river system between the two countries. Pakistan has warned that any Indian attempt to block or divert the flow would be considered an act of war. The Indus Waters Treaty, brokered by the World Bank in 1960, is considered by Pakistan to be a vital national interest, vital for agriculture and hydropower in the country of 240 million people. The pact's impending demise carries enormous symbolic and strategic significance, especially as it has survived 2 wars and a major border skirmish between the two countries. Islamabad has also warned that it could suspend the Simla Agreement, a key peace treaty signed after the 1971 Indo-Pakistani War that established the Line of Control, LOC, the de facto border dividing Kashmir. Given the tensions, looking at the nuclear capabilities of the two countries can help predict what will happen in the future. Both have nuclear weapons, but for deterrence. According to AP, India and Pakistan have been building up their nuclear arsenals for years. But their purpose is to prevent war, not to start one. India has a no first-use policy. That means it will only retaliate with nuclear weapons if there is a nuclear attack on Indian forces or Indian territory. Pakistan has a different policy, a comprehensive deterrence policy, which aims to use tactical nuclear weapons to counter nuclear threats and conventional military attacks from a larger, more powerful, and richer regional adversary. Pakistan does not rule out the possibility of using nuclear weapons first if it feels a threat is imminent. But Pakistan is unlikely to initiate a nuclear war with India because of its neighbor's superior firepower. Pakistan has lost 3 conventional wars in the past. Instead, Pakistan uses its nuclear arsenal to deter India from invading or launching a large-scale attack. Neither country knows what nuclear weapons the other has or how many. India conducted its first nuclear test in 1974. Pakistan conducted its first in 1988. Research groups believe Pakistan has 170 warheads, while India has 172. Some analyses suggest Pakistan may have as many as 200. Despite decades of hostility and suspicion, India and Pakistan have signed a treaty that prohibits them from attacking each other's nuclear facilities. As part of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the two sides exchange lists of their nuclear facilities and equipment every January. They have exchanged lists for 34 consecutive years. However, neither country is a signatory to the Global Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which aims to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and weapons technology. Both have preferred limited strikes against specific targets. The conflict between India and Pakistan has seen targeted attacks and retaliations, escalating step by step, while giving each side a chance to back down and defuse. Border skirmishes are common, but India is under intense domestic pressure to respond this time, as most of the victims last week were Indians. In 2019, after a suicide car bombing, there was an airstrike from India that it said targeted a terrorist training camp in Pakistan. Pakistan later said it had shot down 2 Indian fighter jets over Kashmir and captured a pilot. The pilot was eventually released, and the situation began to return to normal. But the incident shows India's willingness to enter Pakistani airspace and conduct airstrikes, setting a new threshold for retaliation. In the current crisis, neither side has made any significant moves. Pakistan has reported detecting Indian fighter jets in its airspace and shooting down what it said was an Indian spy drone. Retaliation from both countries is likely to take place along the line of control, the de facto border that divides Kashmir, targeting military infrastructure or militant installations. Such a tactic risks miscalculation, as any casualties could exacerbate the situation domestically. On the diplomatic front, Indian Foreign Minister Vikram Misri has briefed envoys from 25 countries, including key G20 partners, Gulf states, and China. The move is seen as India's attempt to build international consensus before formulating its response. Professor Khalid Sultan of Islamabad University said the risk of escalation was real and tensions could easily spiral out of control. However, he said international pressure had helped prevent a full-blown war in the past, and New Delhi's aggressive diplomacy could lead to a more limited response. Praveen Swami, national security editor of The Print, India, said New Delhi's response would depend on evidence they can share with other governments and the public. If India finds evidence of Lashkar-e-Taiba involvement, then there will be some.